So the first trailer for Batman has just come out during the weekend, and how do I put this gently? Batman has no chill. Hello and welcome to the Nerdom Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things nerdom, pop culture, and geek. So, DC Fandom just happened during the weekend, which is DC's virtual press conference announcing all their upcoming projects, what's going on with the stuff that they've already announced. And during that conference, we got bombs dropped on us. Not like bad bombs, I mean like, we got some cool stuff coming up. So, one of those announcements was the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson as the title Bruce Wayne. And just looking at the cast, it was freaking awesome. I'm just like sitting here and I'm listening to Matt Reeves and I'm just like, this is freaking cool. Because you have Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne, Batman. You have, let's see, what's the entire list? I wrote them all out in front of me. We got Andy Serkis as Alfred. You know, he's from Planet of the Apes, Lord of the Rings, pretty much everything in terms... You think of Gollum. He's Gollum in Lord of the Rings. Then you have... what's his name? Paul Dano as the Riddler, who's geared up to be the main bad guy of the movie. You have Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon, not yet Commissioner, and I'll get to that in a second. You have Zoe Kravitz as Selina Kyle, otherwise known as Catwoman. And you have Colin Farrell as Oswald Cobblepot, or Penguin. Anybody else that I missed? No, it doesn't look like it. There is a larger cast as a whole, but this movie's going to be delving into not year one Batman, but more year two. So this is after he's been around for a little bit, but he hasn't really gone up against anybody that's tried him intellectually, and that's kind of what they're setting up with the Riddler. The Riddler in this one seems like he is a serial killer who's taunting Batman. So if you've ever watched the movie Seven, huge Seven feels in this entire movie. And oh my god, I was just getting goosebumps on the entire time I was watching this trailer because it was so freaking good. If you're a big fan of the Nolan Batman, this is reminiscent of it, but it makes the Nolan Batman seem whimsical. Because in the Nolan Batman, you had these ideas and like the abilities that he had was far above anybody else. Like, it seemed like he was a superhero. And here, Robert Pattinson's in like combat boots and he's driving around in a Batmobile that's not really that Batmobile. It's not really stylish like the other ones, not like the Tumbler or the Michael Keaton Batmobile. It's super grounded, and the director said that this is heavily inspired by the Darwin Cook series of comics in the 70s. Not the 70s. But it's super grounded, and it's more directed towards a noir mystery style aspect of it, which is freaking awesome, because you watch all the Batman movies, and you don't really see him be the world's greatest detective. You see him being Batman, this guy that's going up against villains, being like, "You're making crime. Boom, boom, boom." And it's just, what's going on here? Because honestly, I love the action scenes. I really do, in all the other Batman movies. But there was something always kind of cartoony in a sense, and they changed that as they were going along. Two different degrees. The Nolan movies kind of grounded the combat and made the stunts and the action much more gritty. Whereas if you look over at like the George Clooney Batman and Robin movie. It's the combat in there and the action and the stuff in there. It's weird. It's weird. But Pattinson's Batman is showing this version of him that's not refined. By no means. This is the Batman that's going to be making a lot of mistakes, getting beat up constantly. That is the kind of Batman that they're gearing up for. So don't get prepared for this Batman that's just going to show up and things are just going to get freaking demolished. This is the Batman that's going to get beaten up constantly. Like in that one scene in the trailer showed him getting in the police station getting beat up by the cops. And that's another thing about this movie. This is showing a corrupt police force in Gotham, which, given the current climate, I feel like is kind of a risky move, considering. But this is canonically, this is what it was like. This is corrupt Gotham, early Gotham, where corrupt political officials and police officers were running the streets. And along with the cast list and character list that we got, we had Carmine Falcone, which was one of the big Batman villains towards the beginning. He was the main Batman villain before there was any of the main title bad guys. He was around before Joker, technically, because Joker, he was around. Okay, a little bit of comic book history for you guys. Joker was. It changes depending on what DC goes with. Not even the Joker knows his own backstory, which is how weird it is. But one iteration of Joker determines that he was a criminal first, so he was always a criminal, no matter what. But he was Red Hood, which was this bad guy, just regular bank robber, doing criminal stuff, and he wore a red hood, kind of like a dome type deal. Think Mysterio, but then like make it more tubular, just red with a suit. And that was the Joker originally. And one of Batman's first run-ins with him was that he didn't really realize who he was. So he accidentally went into a vat of acid, turning him into the Joker. And you kind of saw this with the Michael Keaton Batman. They showed the transformation from regular guy Joker to the Joker. But another important thing to say about this movie is that this does not have a Joker in it. So what you guys are expecting from, like, if you're expecting a connection from the Joker movie to this movie, be prepared to get your hopes kind of dropped a little bit, because this does not have the Joker in it. There is not a connection. Don't worry about that. But a lot of the costumes in here are really grounded. The Riddler costume, you'll notice he's kind of in this like garbage bag disguise. He's not in like the green suit like the Jim Carrey Riddler. He is. You're kind of terrified of this guy. And this is kind of true of the comic books, because especially more modern retellings of the Riddler, you get this sadistic Riddler that's constantly putting puzzles in front of Batman. Of like the bad guys that he has to go against and like are his main bad guys, it has to be Joker, Bane, and Riddler. Joker, because he's chaos incarnate. He's the opposite to his morals. He is the yin to his yang. Bane, because he's just brute force that the Batman cannot deal with. There's an entire storyline about Batman going up against Bane and Bane completely demolishing him, breaking his spirit, and he just has to come back from that. And then the Riddler is going up against him on an intellectual level. So, going back to the fact that this is year 2 Batman, this is a Batman that's been taking on thugs constantly and just demolishing them. I hate to replay, well actually I don't hate to replay the clip because holy crap. He just This Batman is able to demolish goons within a second. And then you put in an enemy that he can't go up against during with brute force, and he has to overcome that. And that's the kind of thing that the other movies didn't really get to. They really just had Batman going from scene to scene, trying to figure this out. With this, it seems like 7 with Batman. That's essentially what it is, because you're dealing with this Batman that has to think on a different level to beat the Riddler, and that's just amazing to me. I want to see that so badly. And in terms of its tone, we're really going towards this noir detective style storytelling. I hate to use Marvel as an example because Marvel does have noir type stories, but the other movies were really Marvel. It was colorful. You had these items that made these characters pop out to a different level. In this one, it's super grounded. You know what's going to happen. It's going to be a thrill ride. It's a thriller with dark, super saturated colors, and this Batman that just does not give a crap about whether these bad guys make it out of the hospital room or not. It's insane. And the suit just looks incredible. I mean, we saw the red suit originally. That was the first thing that came out from this movie, and that was like a while ago. That was months ago, where we got that little like 20-second clip of Batman in his suit with red glow over it, and it looked pretty good. It looked kind of freaking awesome. And the one thing that I was kind of concerned about when I first saw that was that the ears, and it's such a small thing to nitpick, but the ears looked kind of weird in that one. And I was happy to see that the ears in this one didn't look too out of place. It looked pretty dang good. And this Batman doesn't really care about what his costume looks like as long as it serves the function. And a lot of the small detail work that people pointed out over the years, like the eye makeup around his eyes, because that's a thing that no other Batman showed. That they should have, but they didn't. They're showing this Batman that's gritty, that is willing to get his hands dirty, and really does. He gets beaten up constantly. And again, I'm gonna play the clip again because it's so freaking cathartic. Oh, that's a freaking awesome clip. Man, one more time. Just one punch. Oh, that's awesome. But this Batman is definitely gearing up to be this gritty retelling of him. And I think this is stemming off of the successes of the Joker movie and the Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey movies, because while it is colorful, you have this kind of grounded storytelling technique that they use. And that's what I'm freaking willing to see. I'm waiting to see this stuff come full motion, because this was so freaking awesome. I mean, you watch this trailer and you get goosebumps. I already said it before, but this trailer was so freaking good. And you know things are gonna get ramp up. And this is early Batman, so we might actually see continuations of this, where we go through year one Batman. We go to Dick Grayson becoming Batman's adopted son, becoming Robin. We might, depending on the tone that's set in this movie, we might see Jason Todd. And Jason Todd is one of the darker stories of Batman. The Jason Todd story is freaking incredible. Okay, little bit of a comic book history, because this is really messed up, and this was because of fans. Okay, this wasn't because of the freaking studio. This was because fans mailed it in and said they wanted to see this. There's a time where Dick Grayson left Batman as Robin. He went over to just the Teen Titans, made his own superhero group, did fighting crime, and did his whole thing over there. And Batman was left with an opening. He needed another Robin, so he said, who should I get? And one night while he was out on patrol, Jason Todd, this kid that really didn't have a mother, had a father in jail, and was just living on his own, he stole the wheels off the Batmobile. Think about that. He stole the freaking wheels off the Batmobile, and Batman caught him, and instead of being like, no, boom. Sorry, I had to play the clip again. But he offered him a meal, offered him a place to stay, and then adopted him as Robin, which was awesome. Okay, all right, we got a little bit more of a tougher Robin. This could work out. And this was into the run where Joker was a thing. So when Joker was around, he kidnapped Jason Todd. And a part of the series was that DC put up a poll, said, hey guys, would you mind mailing in to us and telling us what the fate of Jason Todd should be? And as a regular person, you would probably say, nothing. He escapes and Batman beats Joker and the day is saved. Well, apparently people are more sadistic than we give them credit for, because the prevailing answer was that Jason Todd dies in the end. And that was freaking huge. He was a kid. Robin were kids. And I feel like that emphasized the point to Bruce Wayne that these were just kids. He can't keep doing this. But he does, because we get Tim Drake afterwards. But Jason Todd dies, and through different versions, I subscribe to the version that he brought back in the Lazarus Pit, and he comes back as Red Hood, not to be confused with the Joker Red Hood, even though that's where he gets inspirations from it. He becomes Red Hood, comes back to Gotham. He's like, yo, I freaking hate you right now. And he's like Batman, except the line between killing and not killing for Batman isn't really there for Red Hood, so anything's freaking free game for him. And there's like this moral question of, I should do this because I really want to, but Batman's telling me not to, so I'm wondering which one I should go down. That would be a freaking awesome storyline to go down for these movies. Because it seems like they're setting up these movie lines that they can go down. Just like Harley Quinn, she has her own she essentially has her own franchise at this point. She's in the Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn Birds of Prey, and holy crap, did those movies do well. Like with the Suicide Squad, not to be confused with Suicide Squad. You have to have that B in front of the title nowadays if you want to have a sequel. But when DC, not DC, when Marvel let James Gunn go, fired him, they said, DC came around, Warner Brothers, and they said, hey, James Gunn, guess what we got? We got superhero movies too. Do you want to come do a movie for us? And James Gunn was like, yeah, dude, totally. As long as I get to pick it. And Warner Brothers, instead of being like, well, we were thinking that you would do this movie and like maybe do a couple of them if it did well. No, James Gunn came in, got Suicide Squad because that's what he asked for, and he put out this movie, this behind the scenes trailer during DC Fandom, because they wrapped up filming a few months ago, and he got this movie where it brought in so many characters. Like the trailer for it wasn't really a trailer; it was just a behind the scenes expo, and they kept putting name after name after name after name after name after character after character, and we get so many big names in this. We get like Idris Elba, Peter Capaldi, Margot Robbie, of course, Tennessee from what's it called, Zombieland. I forget what his name is, but so many big name actors are in the Suicide Squad. And I think it's important to remember that Suicide Squad is exactly that. They're characters that go into suicide missions, and the reason you maybe don't remember most of their names is probably because they die. Because that's what happens in these movies. They're sent on suicide missions, and they die. There's no really in-between area with these, except for Harley Quinn. She survives most of them. Deadshot, 2, he survives. Captain Boomerang, he survives most of the time, I think. I'd have to do a little bit more research on him, because... Actually, no, I think he survives a while. King Shark, he survives. And that's another big thing that I kind of missed out on that announcement, was that they put on Taika Waititi's name, part of the credits, but under King Shark, they didn't associate an actor with him. So my biggest guess is that they have Taika voicing him, which would be really awesome to have Taika Waititi as a killer shark that has 2 legs and arms. That's freaking cool. But again, they get their own franchises. At DC, they tried doing it with Justice League, and it didn't work out. Their standalone movies did so freaking well. And I think that's where they're hitting their stride, because their standalone movies are doing well, but when they combine them, it's not making cohesive storylines. And when you have these characters that these directors understand who they are, it's more likely you're going to get movies that are really faithful to the source material and that fans are going to be attracted to. Like the Batman movie. Everybody's freaking out about this one because it looks so good and it freaking has the characters to a T. And I can completely see these characters going into their own spin-off series, into having their own stories being told in a different way every time. And I just cannot wait for it. Like, taking a look at just Batman's suit, Batman's demeanor in this movie, we feel like drawn to him. He feels human. Because in the other movies, he's like, yeah, I'm Bruce Wayne. Hello, I'm suave, and I'm Batman. Except I'm not actually saying that. Except I am, to some people. Depends on who you are. But this Batman seems like he's going to get beat up. He's roughed up. He's going through emotional problems that are kind of similar to us. Granted, I don't know how many of you guys are doing superhero things in your spare time, but there's a level of, holy crap, this guy's actually human, he bleeds, that we can relate to in this trailer. Just in the trailer, we're seeing this stuff, and oh man, it's gonna be freaking sick. It's gonna be awesome to see Batman go up against these villains, one after the other, especially like villains like Cobblepot, because Penguin was pretty big, but he's not really the main villain. Yet he's involved in the trailer, which evokes so many questions about this. Is Penguin going to... What is his role going to be? Is he going to be an anti-hero in this film, where Batman has to side with him to go up against maybe Falcone, or maybe it's like a subplot during the whole thing? Either way, we're seeing these characters, and they look freaking awesome. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I was seeing like fan art of Colin Farrell as like this elegant looking penguin. And then I saw this and I was like, holy crap, that's pretty freaking awesome. Granted, and this is because I liked the older Batman movies, I kind of wanted to see Danny DeVito come back as Penguin. Because, granted, it was a cartoony penguin, but it was a penguin that was freaking awesome to see. This penguin was so freaking epic. And some people forget about him, but this penguin, Danny DeVito's penguin, literally bit off a guy's nose in his movie. It was like, how did this get past the censors? And honestly, this is psyching me up so much for this movie. It's supposed to be released on October 1st, 2021, along with the tag only in theaters. So I'm thinking that I think that's a marketing technique that they're using. That they're saying that they're going to be planning to go straight to theaters when this is finally released, not any streaming service. So I think they're kind of gearing up to stay away from the streaming services, so to speak, because during quarantine we've been hit pretty hard, and movies have been forced to go to the streaming services. Like Disney Plus has just moved Mulan from their theatrical release to the streaming service itself. Scooby-Doo did their release, and that one got released straight to digital platforms. And movie theaters have been taking a hit based off of that. So I think by them announcing that they're going to be releasing straight to these formats, we are looking pretty good. I enjoy it. And in terms of Riddler, we're seeing this character so... This Riddler is going to be freaking awesome. Paul Dano's great in whatever he's in. And as the Riddler, his voice was just haunting the entire trailer, and oh man, this is just gonna be so freaking good. It draws you in, and you just don't want to stop watching it. I freaking want to see this, but I have to wait about a year and a few months for it to even like come out. Which, again, I feel sad in that sense, but honestly, I'm digging it. This is psyching me up for DC's comeback, because they've had a couple misses so far. Suicide Squad didn't do so well in the box office, but with these movies coming out, they're doing really well. Like Wonder Woman, Shazam, Joker, all of those movies, the standalones, Aquaman, they did really well. And I just want to see them come out in this in all their glory, because we're getting part of the announcements that they did for DC fandom. Some of the stuff that we already knew about was like Black Adam. We already knew that they were kind of making that, but they haven't really done production on it yet, so we only got the concept art, and we got a voiceover from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Black Adam, which, oh, that's freaking psyching me up too. We also get the Suicide Squad. We get Wonder Woman Wonder Woman 84. We get what's it called? We heard a little bit about Aquaman 2 that's supposed to be coming into production. We haven't really gotten trailers for it, but we heard about that. That's supposed to be on its way. And we also got confirmation that a couple of video games were coming out. Those of you who aren't really into video games, it's games like Gotham Knights, which involves that the Batman is dead, and he is now putting all of his resources in the hands of his proteges, which is Tim Drake, Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, and Barbara Gordon, otherwise known as Robin, Red Robin, Nightwing, Red Hood, and Batgirl. So that's going to be interesting to see, at least, because there's a few things canonically in the game that don't really make sense. Like Barbara Gordon, she was a paraplegic. I think that's what it is, when you don't feel the legs down. After the events of The Killing Joke, which, again, super dark storyline for any comic book fan to read and take a look at. But, man, these trailers from DC fandom this weekend, it was phenomenal. I can't wait to look at these films when they come out. And the nice thing is, we're getting the Suicide Squad a few months around Batman. So when I'm done with Batman, I can go over and see Suicide Squad. That's going to be freaking awesome. In other news, we also got the Snyder Cut announcement. They're going to be releasing it in 4 parts on HBO Max, and doing another thing so that other people who don't have access to that, because for those of you who don't know, HBO Max is Warner Brothers streaming service. That's kind of their provider, but they're not global yet. It's the U.S. and some other parts of the world, but they're working on making sure that it's accessible to everybody, because that's a lot of money that they want in their banks. So we will be getting that. It's going to be a 4-parter, Justice League, which does some edits to it, fixes it a little bit, story-wise, adds in dialogue that was cut out of the main film. Shows off the entire frame of the film, so it's not going to be the 16:9. It's going to be the 4:3 cut, because they filmed directly on film for this movie. So that's going to be kind of cool to see when that comes out. And honestly, these announcements have been freaking awesome, and I can't wait to see them in all their glory, in terms of just holy crapness, like the Batman trailer. I still can't get over that. I don't know about you guys. I can't get over that. If you guys want to, leave what you thought about the trailer in the comments, because holy crap, this Batman is freaking insane. I mean, you just watch this thing and you're like, okay, that's sick. That is so freaking awesome. And I just can't wait to see this movie, because it looks so freaking awesome. I put in the clip for The Incredibles of the little kid on his tricycle in front of Mr. Incredible. That was totally wicked, except I don't want to get flagged by Disney. So if you guys wouldn't mind, you can pull that up on another page of YouTube and play that for yourselves right where I said to. That would help me out. It helps me edit. But essentially, this Batman movie, my biggest hope is that it spawns this new franchise of Batman movies coming out, because we already got that with Suicide Squad and Harley Quinn. Margot Robbie did awesome as her, and DC took a little bit of a minute, but they're starting to build up their universe to a degree that isn't bad anymore. This is pretty dang good, and it's connected. The movies are getting interwoven, and there's still going to be bumps along the way, like Jared Leto's Joker, because if there's ever a mashup between Harley Quinn and the Batman at this point, I think we're going to be in trouble, because Jared Leto Joker is not really... It doesn't really fit the aesthetic at all of the Batman movie trailer. At all. So, it's going to be interesting to see how they solve some of these problems if they move forward with combining their properties. But, honestly, I know I'm saying this a lot, but I am just so pumped up for these movies to come out. Man, and the theory that his Batman signal on his chest is the gun of Joe Chill. It's a weird theory. That would be pretty freaking symbolic, but canonically, what he did with Joe Chill, and for those of you who aren't really versed in Batman lore, Joe Chill is the guy that killed Thomas and Martha Wayne, Bruce Wayne's parents. And part of one of the first things that Batman did was that he figured out who Joe Chill was, when he killed him, what he did specifically. What Batman does is he goes to Joe Chill, and instead of killing him, he's like, "No, I'm Bruce Wayne." And he gives him his identity, and this is really funny, because Joe Chill goes to his gang because he realizes what he's done, and he says, "Guys, I made Batman. Apparently, I'm the guy who made him. I know his identity." And the other gang members, not really caring about that fact, kind of cling on to the idea that Joe Chill created the one guy in Gotham that freaking brutalizes thugs and goons across Gotham. And he earns his comeuppance by getting killed by these guys, which goes kind of nicely with Batman's whole "I do not kill" ideology, because now he doesn't actually have to kill Joe Chill. But that was such an impactful moment in comic books where he did that little story, because it's not very long at all. It's pretty short compared to the rest of the stories, like the Court of Owls series. That one's significantly longer than that one. But honestly, I can't wait for these movies to come out. And I can't wait for quarantine to be over so that they can get started again, because with Batman, they got I think it's either 1/3 or 2/3 of the way through with filming. I think it was 1/3. With 1/3 of the way done with filming, they were able to pump out that trailer. And if that's only 1/3 of it, holy crap, we're ready for more, man. I'm ready for it. Let's see, anything else? I think that's it for today's podcast. Those of you who are watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notifications bell so you can be alerted when I post more videos. Those of you who are watching on Spotify, make sure to click that follow. Those of you watching on other outlets of podcasting, I'm sure there's a follow feature on there. I'm not quite sure. You guys are probably more experienced with that than I am. Make sure you hit whatever that is, and so that you're alerted to whenever I post these again. I post every Monday. I hope to see you guys again. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on what you thought about the trailer in the comments below. And it's been fun, guys.